Look around you. Look at the people who have achieved greatness in this world. The inventors, the business leaders, the artists whose work has transformed lives. Now ask yourself this question. What do they all have in common? Time. They had the exact same 24 hours in a day that you have. The exact same 1,440 minutes. The exact same 86,400 seconds. Yet while some people build empires, discover cures, and create masterpieces with those hours, others scroll mindlessly through social media, watch strangers live their lives through screens, and complain that there's never enough time. The difference isn't time. The difference is focus. Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today, we're going to have an honest conversation about the most valuable resource you will ever possess, your time, and how focusing on yourself isn't selfish. It's the most responsible thing you can do with the life you've been given. In the tradition of the great Dr. Myles Munroe, who understood that the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose, we're going to explore why most people waste their potential, how to reclaim your focus, and the transformative power of investing in yourself. And I need you to stay until the end, because I'm going to share with you the single most important principle that Dr. Munroe taught about personal development. A principle so powerful that it has completely transformed my life and the lives of thousands of others who have applied it. Dr. Myles Munroe often said, "Your future is determined by what you do today, not tomorrow." Yet we live in what might be called the age of distraction, a time when everything and everyone is competing for your attention. Let me ask you a question. How many hours did you spend last week focused on other people's lives, scrolling through their vacation photos, watching their accomplishments, consuming their content? Now, how many hours did you spend focused on developing your own gifts, on building your own future, on becoming the person you were created to be? The average person spends over 3 hours a day on social media alone. That's 21 hours a week, nearly 1,100 hours a year. What could you accomplish with 1,100 focused hours? You could learn a language, write a book, build a business, transform your health, or develop expertise in almost any field. Dr. Munroe understood this when he said, "The greatest tragedy is not death but life without purpose." When you're constantly focused on others, their opinions, their achievements, their drama, you're sacrificing your purpose on the altar of distraction. This isn't just about social media. It's about every aspect of life where we give away our focus. The colleagues who drain your energy with needless drama. The toxic relationships that demand constant attention but give nothing back. The endless stream of entertainment designed to keep you consuming rather than creating. Dr. Munroe would tell us, "The greatest gift you can give to mankind is the person you were born to be. But you cannot become that person while your focus is scattered across 1,000 distractions." Now, when I say focus on yourself, I want to be clear about what that means. This isn't about selfishness or narcissism. It's not about ignoring your responsibilities or the people who genuinely need you. Dr. Munroe taught that true self-focus is actually about stewardship, taking responsibility for the gifts, talents, time, and potential that were entrusted to you. He would often say, "You came to Earth pregnant with potential." Think about that phrase, pregnant with potential. Just as a mother has a responsibility to nurture the life growing within her, you have a sacred responsibility to nurture the potential within you. True self-focus means asking these essential questions. What am I uniquely gifted to do? What problems am I designed to solve? What contribution am I meant to make? What must I develop within myself to fulfill that purpose? When you focus on yourself in this way, you're not being selfish. You're preparing yourself to be of maximum service to the world. As Dr. Munroe taught, the greatest tragedy is not death, but life without purpose. And your purpose will never be fulfilled if you're constantly distracted by what everyone else is doing. In fact, one of the most profound teachings of Dr. Munroe was that your greatest gift to the world is not what you do, but who you become. The world doesn't need another distracted, unfulfilled person scrolling through life. It needs you, fully developed, operating in your gifts, focused on your purpose. Now let's get practical. If you're going to focus on yourself and stop wasting time, you need to identify and eliminate the major time wasters in your life. Dr. Munroe was known for his practical wisdom. He would say, "Don't waste another minute dealing with a toxic person." Yet how many of us continue to invest our precious time in relationships that drain rather than energize us? First, you must evaluate your relationships. Not all relationships deserve equal time. There are relationships that lift you toward your purpose and those that pull you away from it. Dr. Munroe taught that you cannot change someone who does not see an issue in their actions. Stop wasting time trying to fix people who aren't committed to growth. Second, you must audit your media consumption. Every minute spent consuming content that doesn't educate, inspire, or genuinely refresh you is a minute stolen from your purpose. As Dr. Munroe would say, time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time. Third, eliminate the busy work that fills your schedule but doesn't move you toward your goals. Dr. Munroe often emphasized that activity is not necessarily productivity. Being busy doesn't mean you're being effective. Fourth, stop the endless comparison to others. Dr. Munroe taught that you are not created to be anybody else. You are created to be yourself. Every minute spent comparing your journey to someone else's is a minute not spent developing your unique gifts. And fifth, this might be the most important. Stop waiting for permission to focus on yourself. Dr. Munroe would say, "The greatest tragedy in life is not death but life without purpose." No one else can discover and develop your purpose for you. That responsibility is yours alone. When you eliminate these time wasters and begin focusing on yourself, on developing your gifts and pursuing your purpose, something remarkable happens. Your life begins to generate momentum. Dr. Munroe described it this way: "Vision is not enough. It must be combined with venture. It is not enough to stare up the steps. We must step up the stairs." Consider what happens when you focus on yourself with purpose. First, your skills develop at an accelerated rate. The principle of deliberate practice tells us that focused attention on developing specific abilities leads to mastery. As Dr. Munroe would say, you must decide that you are going to become an expert at what you were born to be. Second, your confidence grows naturally, not from empty affirmations, but from the genuine competence that comes with dedicated self-development. Dr. Munroe taught that self-confidence is the ability to be convinced about your inherent value and worth as a human being. Third, your impact on others paradoxically increases. By focusing on becoming the best version of yourself, you naturally inspire and elevate those around you. As Dr. Munroe would say, true leadership is not about making yourself great, but about making others greater. And fourth, your sense of fulfillment deepens. There is a profound satisfaction that comes from knowing you are investing your finite time in becoming who you were created to be. Dr. Munroe expressed this when he said, "The greatest tragedy is not death but life without purpose." This is the power of purposeful self-focus. It transforms not just your own life but your capacity to impact others. It's the difference between existing and truly living. Now, let me share with you the principle that Dr. Munroe taught that transformed my understanding of personal development. It's simply this: purpose must be pursued daily, not occasionally. Many people approach self-development as a sporadic activity, a weekend seminar, an occasional book, a yearly retreat. But Dr. Munroe understood that transformation happens through daily discipline, not occasional inspiration. Here's how to apply this principle. First, establish a non-negotiable self-development hour each day. This is sacred time that nothing and no one can interrupt. As Dr. Munroe would say, if you want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. During this hour, focus exclusively on activities that develop your unique gifts and move you toward your purpose. This might be studying, practicing your craft, strategic planning, or creative work. Second, begin each day by reconnecting with your purpose. Dr. Munroe taught that where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. When you begin each day by clarifying why you're here and what you're working toward, you naturally become more protective of your time and focus. Third, evaluate your progress daily. Dr. Munroe would often say, if you can measure it, you can manage it. Take time each evening to reflect on how you invested your hours. Were they aligned with your purpose or scattered among distractions? And fourth, remember that consistency trumps intensity. As Dr. Munroe taught, success is not a destination, but a journey. Small, consistent steps of self-focus will take you further than occasional bursts of intense effort. My friends, we began today by noting that we all have the same 24 hours. But by the end of your life, the difference between what you do with those hours and what others do will be monumental. Dr. Myles Munroe left us with this powerful truth. The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose. Your purpose, the unique contribution you were created to make, will never be fulfilled if your focus remains on others rather than on developing what lies within you. Today is the day to make a decision. Will you continue to waste your precious time on distractions, comparisons, and the affairs of others? Or will you have the courage to focus on yourself, not out of selfishness, but out of a deep commitment to become who you were created to be? Remember, the world doesn't need your attention. It needs your contribution. And your greatest contribution will only come when you focus on developing the gifts that only you possess. If this message has stirred something in you today, if you're ready to reclaim your focus and stop wasting time, hit that like button right now as a commitment to yourself. Subscribe to the channel for more content that will help you develop your purpose and potential. And share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. In the words of Dr. Myles Munroe, the greatest gift you can give to mankind is the person you were born to be. It's time to focus on becoming that person. Your time is too precious to waste on anything less. Until next time, focus on yourself, develop your gifts, and fulfill your purpose.